is super distorted. With all these deep, everything is going to become fake, or you know what I mean? How
right.
to just decide what is even so fake it's that fake. You know what I mean? Like, where does all that go, and then how do we make decisions based on what we think is facts?
Right.
Other
So-
than seeing yourself.
So pouring gasoline on the what is truth anymore? Fire.
Fake news fire.
Yeah. MJ.
Nefarious actors, like people intentionally using that and misinformation to skew society or change people's perceptions of something. If people intentionally do it, they
Yeah.
talk about it could happen, but people
No,
can
no.
use it to do
Right.
that.
Getting really good at intentional.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the disconnection part, taken further than what we've sort of discussed, really isolating people who are already kind of spend too much time online. Suddenly they can have more meaningful relationships with things that don't exist, and that displaces the actual human connection. And, that affects society, but also really individuals and families.
Yeah.
People in a very direct and personal way. And given that it's an attention economy, there are a lot of incentives for corporations, at least, and there are a lot of lonely people. So
Yeah. And
I'm thinking from the education standpoint, a loss of skills.
Yeah.
Just hearing you say the old hat of going and checking multiple search engines.
yeah.
I fear for the kids, don't believe the first thing that you find, make sure you're really trusting your sources, and just taking from different spaces and learning, and then just problem solving skills. If our first jump, we're already in this phase where your first jump is oh, I have this bump on me, let me check it online, instead of looking closely, what do we notice about it, thinking
Yeah.
about your day, you might actually figure it out for yourself.
Right. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
Over-reliance on one sector for economic growth. I believe it's coming out that 60% of our GDP growth this year was tied up in AI. So any main issue that can come up for that could just be devastating to not just the economy, but our own daily lives and valuation.
Anybody else? Yeah.
I fear of the dark.
Fear of the dark.
So what I mean, I was going to say innovation research stuff, but I was going to agree with you.
Yeah.
MJ, I agree with MJ. So propaganda, very worried about everyone is going to this. The model is basically guided on a yes or no by the people who are writing if they don't know. So
Yeah.
any question you answer, you answer to predetermined.
Right. Right. Questions? Cool.
Art.
Art.
and the highest expression of humans in history has always been our ability to create things, to communicate, and leave a record behind.
Yeah.
And now it's just really easily spoofed.
Yeah.
And that, to the people receiving it, it might be beneficial, it might not be, but to the species, we're kind of losing something that is our most important, expression.
All right. That's a lot of fears. It's good to get them out. It's also good to get them out in a room together, because then you're not alone. You can also start to talk. We can also start to talk to each other, speak with each other about these fears and how to actually take steps to mitigate them, right? Because I don't have all the answers. My book doesn't have all the answers. It's a start. But being able to think critically together with other people is what I believe gets us to a better outcome and mitigates the dangers that we're all afraid of. Now, the AI industry, as it is now, is very much a top-down industry. Those that had capital and data in 2017, 2018 could sprint ahead. Okay, the internet, which I was in college when the web was invented. I saw my first website, I think 1994, maybe late 93. That was very much bottom up. When Mary Jane was born in 2003, her mom built a website, had never done that before, because that was the thing you could do, right? The biggest industries were the ones that were, the biggest industries in technology were the ones that were disrupted by the internet and the web. They weren't necessarily driving it. The opposite's true for AI. because of that capital intensive nature of like just getting started with modern AI. So we are all afraid because there's a projection of, there are behaviors from the AI industry which trigger our survival signals. So when I was writing this book, I was in the library and I would get motivated or inspired by books I saw on the shelves. And also like, man, why are people afraid? And so I started researching fear. And I found this book by an author named Gavin de Becker, who is a safety expert, right? He wrote a book called The Gift of Fear, back to fear being important to humans as a species. And he writes about survival signals and it's really like how to avoid getting robbed, murdered, or raped, that kind of stuff. But it was really disturbing in a dark, and the humor is like dark humor, but it really disturbing how those survival signals translated to the AI industry. I'm not going to go through all of them necessarily, but I'll talk about 3. Who's experienced interaction with a language-based AI and that could be Alexa even, where you feel like the thing was trying to charm you. Yeah, like a little bit sycophantic, like, oh, it's amazing. It's so great that you asked that question. Yeah. So when charm is a verb, we are wary. Like, I can be up here. I hope I am charming. All right. Adjective. But if I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? Let's talk. Okay. I'm going to charm you. Creepy.
I'm scared.
Creepy. When charm is a verb, is like, whoa, I don't know about that. All right. That's a survival signal. When you interact with a bot, the way they are right now, and Alexa started it, right? It's charming you. Alexa's so nice. We had to rename our Amazon device. Alexa was
my college roommate, and we had to rename our Amazon Alexa to like Ziggy or whatever the other option was. We talk about Alexa too much.
We'd be like, Mary Jane, how do you like your new roommate Alexa? And like, I'm like, no, unplugged thing. So we renamed it Ziggy. Anyway, Alexa was so charming. It was creepy. The next one we'll talk about is forced teaming, where you don't feel like you have an option to not use AI. It is insidious in your phone or your home speaker device, or it's popping up at the top of every search page, even though the answer is wrong. Like, no, it's like, we're going to do this. We're totally going to do this together. It's going to be great because I'm charming you. That's a survival signal. Like when you came here of your own volition, like nobody was like, hey, come on, man, let's go to this thing. You don't feel like you have the option to not come to this talk. That's forced teaming. And there's like if you read this book, Gift of Fear, there's a lot of, there are a lot of great examples about how to avoid getting murdered in an alley by listening to these survival signals. The third one that we'll talk about, and there's a bunch more, is the one that like really, really gets me. And so this will be a bit editorial. Like there's what I am working to share with you as fact, and then there's my viewpoint. You should be always trying to disambiguate between the two. This one is very much my viewpoint. This is the one that I think that really, really upsets me. So it's typecasting. The first ads for Apple Intelligence, I think it was Super Bowl of 23 maybe, or 4. I can't remember. The ads were like, you're in the office. You're just an office drone. You're about to send a really bad email. And then Apple Intelligence catches that and rewrites it to be more polite. And that saved your butt. Okay? You're a dumb husband and you forgot it was your wife's birthday. And then Apple Intelligence made a video at the last minute for you to gift your wife. Right? So typecasting is, you're a mouth breather. AI is here to save you. I saw an ad in an airport. You make mistakes. Your AI doesn't. Try SAP. SAP is a big software company, right? And typecasting is meant to elicit, like, I'm not dumb. All right, I'll get SAP. It's meant to like get that kind of response out of you. And there's a lot of that happens with the AI industry as it is now. to be clear, I always try and talk about the AI industry separately from AI, because I think it's really important for all of us together to get to the point where we can separate the two, right? All the fears that you just described, all those survival signals, ultimately are landing right now today in a business model that is very much built on dependence. So the technology dependence business model has made the big AI companies, Google, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, now OpenAI, or OpenAI and now Microsoft. It's made them a lot of money. So who can't resist the urge to pick up their phone and look at it like when you're in an elevator by yourself? Who feels good about that? You're really okay.
Sometimes.